We talked about the squad a bit earlier and the depth of the squad. Now, the FA have set up a commission. Greg Dyke of the FA has set up a commission to combat this lack of depth in the national team. So, Bill, what exactly is this commission set up to do?
Well, Greg Dyke set up this commission to try and improve the England national team and to try and get more English players available for England. The percentage is only like 32% or whatever it is of English players available that are playing in the Premier League. And he obviously wants to increase that to well over 50%, 60% like it is in Spain, Germany. And so he's set up a commission of different people to try and think of points to solve this issue.
Now, the 8-man panel consists of Greg Clark, the Football League chairman, PFA chairman Richie Humphries, football legend Dario Gradi, ex-England boss Glenn Hoddle, and Leeds United player Howard Wilkinson and Danny Mills, and FA vice chairman Roger Burden. Now, Tommy, what do you think of that commission? Is it good enough? Is it what you expected?
To be honest, it's hard to judge yet whether it's a good idea or not. We have to see how it turns out, their kind of roles. But I think that they're trying to go down the same line as what Bayern Munich have done, for example, in terms of getting ex-professionals who have been associated with England working in terms of working higher up for them. Like we see with Germany, with Bayern Munich, a lot of ex-players have taken up quite senior roles in terms of the running of the business, giving their advice, their footballing input as well. I think it's a good idea if it's done properly. I really like the idea that Glenn Hoddle's involved in it. I think that he's a very intelligent man, has a lot of good ideas, and I think that he should always be associated or be in some role within the England setup, because I think that his football knowledge in terms of England is one of the best. So I think that we should use that, and I'm pleased to see him back.
Yeah, I agree. I think Ben Hoddle in particular was a good appointment. I mean, I don't know what the mission statement exactly is of this panel, but some of the names seem a bit strange, some seem good. I mean, for me, Dario Gradi is a legend of Crewe Alexandria. He's well known for bringing through a lot of really good youth talent, and that's obviously a key area, and his expertise is really needed. But you know, he's 72. I think it was Stan Collymore pointed out there's a couple of really old fellas on that panel, and it's a little bit like we need to freshen it up a bit, and he might have a point there. But overall, it's a good idea, but maybe some of the personnel are a bit, I don't know, it's a hard one. But as Tommy says, the real model you need to look at is what Germany have done, and I think one of the key things of that is the club teams working closely with the German national team. At the moment, we have an FA and a Premier League, two separate bodies which don't get along very well. And I think until that's really resolved properly and they're working together, building a club teams that are encouraged greatly to produce youth players, it won't really improve. Because if you look at Germany, nearly every team are almost forced to do that now, and every team has a really good youth setup with really good players coming through, and that's why Germany are one of the leading nations for that. So I think England can improve a lot, and this is perhaps a step in the right direction, but there's a long way to go.
I think the members of the panel, I think most of them are pretty underwhelming, in my opinion. I kind of think they should have more youth sort of focus on it. I don't know why someone like from the national development of the game, or someone like Sir Trevor Brooking or Gareth Southgate that's been involved with it. I don't know why they're not on it. Or sort of players like Stan Collymore. I think he's got good ideas. A bit controversial, but he's got good ideas as well. I don't know. I feel a bit underwhelmed by it, but we've got to wait until what they come up with in like March or whatever it is. I think it's a big smack in the face that the Premier League are not in it as well.
From your point there, Bill, about the so-called non-footballing people, I think it's a bit naive to look at the panel and think that they're just going to sit in a room, just them 8 people with a pizza and just discuss football. I think it's more broader than that. Obviously, you need someone high up in the FA to for the authority more than anything else. You need to have that. It can't just be a group of coaches sat around going, okay, we need to teach kids this.
Yeah, no, but they've got Greg Dyke there. That's why he's there. You don't need two people from the FA there. I don't know why the vice chairman's there as well. I don't know why the Football League chairman's there as well.
I think the problem with the Football League chairman is that they're the only ones that seem to be cooperative with this plan. As you mentioned, the Premier League, why aren't they on there? It might not be that they weren't invited. They might just not want to be on this panel. They might not agree with this panel.
No, it's been a lot talk. They don't care about the England team. Well, this obviously shows they don't. They don't. The Premier League, as a brand, doesn't need a successful England team. It's not their prerogative, and that's fair enough.
It's true, because what Simon was saying about the German national team and the German league cooperating, for them in the academies of the club teams, a certain percentage of the players need to be from Germany. So I think it's something like 65% of the players in the under-17s, under-15s, under-14s all need to be from Germany. In England, it's not like that. You have at some of the academies, they can bring in as many foreign players as they want to make up their academies. And if you don't have the players from your own country in the academies, then we're not going to have a chance to develop them. So, as I said, there needs to be a joint partnership between the Premier League and the English national team if we want to improve in terms of competitions with the English team.
Bill, you mentioned about the Premier League maybe not caring. With EPPP, do they need to care? Because if the Football League clubs create the young talent, the Premier League clubs can pick them off for next to nothing. Is that something in their minds, or do they just not care?
I think the Premier League clubs care, but I think the actual Premier League body, they're not particularly bothered. I mean, we can all come up with ideas about how to get more English players involved, but if the Premier League clubs don't vote for it and they don't agree with it, then it's erroneous. It's irrelevant. You know what I mean? So,
but do you think EPPP affects any sort of participation in this plan?
I think it plays a part, but this is a wider national thing. All these factors have got to come into account. That's why they're going to speak to loads of coaches and loads of people. I mean, they've still got two people to appoint to the panel, so we have no idea who's going to be picked yet. So we'll have to wait and see. I mean, it depends until the 6-month period is over. We can't really judge it until then. So
from developing our own players to taking other players from other national teams, Januzaj, the Manchester United player, starred in the victory over Sunderland last weekend. A lot of talk recently about him possibly switching to play for England from either Belgium or Albania, depending what you could choose. Simon, what do you think of us taking players from other nationalities and converting them to English players?
For me, it reeks of desperation, really. I don't think any country really needs to go down that road. and I mean, it's very premature in terms of the player himself, because one good game isn't going to make him a hero for England. It's a really strange one from everyone really involved. He's technically Kosovan, I think, but they don't have an international football team approved by FIFA, so he's either waiting for that to happen or he will choose Albania or Belgium. I don't know why in that circumstance we would try and take him to England. It seems really pointless in my opinion. But doing it as a whole for any player, I just don't see the point in it really.
Only the English players should be playing for England. It would sound a bit weird if if you don't have players from your own country playing for you. But I think England's they're looking at teams like Spain maybe, and you look at the situation which they're handling at the moment with Diego Costa, born in Brazil, but is now going to go and play for Spain. If the world champions, European champions, if they're doing it, and they're at the top, England are maybe thinking, do we need to start doing that? But I don't think we should be drawn into that. I think we should have faith in the players we're developing and what we have at the moment, because we do have a lot of talent, a lot of young talent as well. So we don't need to dip into that. But I don't know why we're overly fussed about someone who is not yet proved. Diego Costa is a proven striker in La Liga, so you can kind of see the debate. But the bottom line is, national teams should only be picking players from that country. So I think it's a wrong path to go down.
It is a bit odd thinking about it, because there's not exactly a flood of players who we can convert, so to speak, right now, as you say. So what is the point of this debate?
No, I don't think Januzaj. I don't think he should play for him. He's 18 years old. If he was like 5, 6 years old and come through our system and then decided he wants to play for England, I'd say okay. But I think what Wilshere said was quite flawed. Because if that was the case, John Barnes wouldn't have played for England, because he's from Jamaica. Terry Butcher wouldn't have played for England because he's born in Singapore. You know, in the current squad, Raheem Sterling, because he was born in Jamaica. Wilfred Sahar as well. You know, but it's kind of acceptable for them because they come through our system, and they've either got English parents or whatnot. Whereas Januzaj, none of those cases apply. And there's some he's only played one good game. You know, if he was like a world beat, I'd say okay, but he's played one good game against the worst team in the league at the moment. So we've got to hold back a minute.